What's up? It's your boy, the Professor, a.k.a. Tony Dunn from Carolina Cat Chronicles, and I am bringing you the C3 podcast. I'm here with my boys. It's Tuesday night. It's 10 o'clock every Tuesday. We get together and talk Panther football. Say hello, fellas.
Hello, fellas.
You're so cool.
Hey, Panther Nation, what's going on? This is Mel Mayock, a.k.a. Panther Drafter. Looking forward to some fun talk tonight, man. Last Sunday, after everybody was thinking the sky was falling, I said, hey, hang in there. Better days are ahead. We had a pretty good day the other day, so let's enjoy it tonight, and let's talk about next week.
Do you know, Joey, by the way, everybody, I'm here with my best buddy, Joey Riolano, who's also the smartest cat in town, who can't resist. He can't resist saying, hey, fellas. Anyway, Joe, do you remember last time we had Aaron join us for the podcast? My man said Frank Alexander was going to come save the day.
All right, so I was right and I was wrong.
He left that part out, didn't he?
Yeah, I said our defense was going to come back. Frank Alexander was going to lead the way. I was half right.
All right. Well, okay. Well, this is the C3 podcast. Tonight is Bear Tastes Sweet and Bengal Smells Exotic. You can check us out at CarolinaCatChronicles.com. And I got to say, fellas, that the win tasted sweet in some ways. Bittersweet. I don't know if that's the right term, but it felt good. Joey, looking at Sunday, the team was a mess. They started out a mess. How important? What did you think about that game?
Well, I really think the team showed real intestinal fortitude. It would have been very easy for them to say, okay, here we go again, when they got down. But no, they continued to play hard, play smart, and as the game progressed, we really saw the team begin to gel and put forth tremendous effort. No doubt it helps that Thomas Davis was back. That's a huge impact on our defense. And maybe him being there really motivated the offensive line. And the pressure was really ramped up there in the second half. It was a great win for us. Much needed. I really feel like this was a must-win game.
Mel, did you get that feeling? You're far away from all of this, but you stay tuned in more than anybody to what's going on with Carolina Panthers. Did you get the feeling, and when you were watching that game, did you get to watch it live?
Yeah, I did. I got to pay for it, DirecTV, but yep, I was watching. Okay.
No plug for DirecTV though from this show,
no,
unless you're going to give them my account number and give me a $10 discount. That's going to be so damn hard to recover. But how did you feel in the betting city of Las Vegas about the importance of this win?
Well, it was a must-win. I mean, it's early in the season to say that, but when you look at the schedule coming up, at Cincinnati, at Green Bay, Seattle at home, then New Orleans. I'm telling you, that's a tough streak, man. 3-2 feels a whole lot better than 2-3. So that was as close to a must-win as you can get in Week 5.
Everybody that's watching, thanks for joining us tonight. What I'd like for you to do is click on the Get Involved in the Conversation button below. It should be in yellow if you're watching on YouTube. If you're watching on a PC, it'd be awesome to hit that like button and give us a little applause. We appreciate that. But you can tweet us at the hashtag C3. Guys, when I watched this game, we watched that first half. That first half was tough to watch. And I know that we are celebrating in the fact that we won and we gelled. But one of the things that our viewers are going to get to check out when they click down below is a story that I put out today. Thomas Davis wills this win, and what I got from this game, guys, was I felt like we were almost beaten in the middle of the second quarter. Our team was really at a point where I was wondering, were they mentally going to be able to stick through this? And I believe I saw it happen on one play. because if you think about it, we were turning the ball over. Cam Newton had just thrown an interception to Briggs, and we had already had one other, I believe, turnover in the game at that point, or two. So we had a lot of turnovers. It wasn't pretty. And then Thomas Davis missed a tackle on Joe Forte. And Joe Forte bounced for like 52 yards up the right side of the field. And that was a team where we were off a moment we were off a turnover, and you just got burned. One of your best players, really blew it in some ways. And the very next play, Thomas Davis racked Matt Forte up and made this enormous play. And then he celebrated, and then they went on to miss the field goal. I felt, guys, that this was this moment that Thomas Davis, particularly because he's been through what he's been in and that kind of never quit mentality, I thought he was so important to the team at this moment, and it doesn't show on the stat sheet. Joe, you touched upon that some too.
Do you remember the play before that? When he ripped off that 52-yarder, Thomas Davis is the one that missed the tackle.
Right. He hit
That's
him.
what I'm saying.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
Hard.
When he hit him, yeah, he's the one that he didn't wrap him up.
Right.
And then if anybody, so the team is down at that moment. You know what I'm saying? Like they're emotionally down. And then Thomas Davis destroyed Matt Forte on the next play. And then he celebrated. And I thought if anybody was going to be down at that moment, it would be Thomas Davis, and that shows that keep pounding mentality. Joe, did you feel that at that moment?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I thought, my God, what a huge miss of a tackle. He's got to make up for that, was what I was thinking, because he did nail him. I mean, he nailed Forte, but he didn't wrap him up. And Forte's, he's a good running back. He just kept trucking. So on that next play where Davis was able to really stick him, I was like, oh, that's a make. He wanted that. He's zeroing in on that, and he was going to make it happen. And then to miss the field goal, that was just like throwing fuel onto the little fire that had begun.
And of course, as they were getting ready to kick the field goal, the announcers were saying, "Gold is money in the bank. He never misses."
Never.
I know. I mean, I think like the best kicker in the NFL percentage-wise, at that moment. I thought it was fortuitous in many ways. We were very fortunate. We had a lot of fortunate help in that game. I would say that if I generally complain about officiating. Actually, I complain every week on this show about officiating in some capacity. And if I was a Bears fan, I would be a little upset. I thought we got some pretty good calls and got away with some stuff. And it definitely felt like the home team refs were on our side a little bit. But here's the other thing, is that we go into the half. I think we should also note, if we're going to talk about Thomas Davis's internal kind of strength, I thought we saw a coming out party for Cam Newton. And if anybody, and what I mean like a mental maturity moment, he did not get down. He did not sulk. That man was purposeful. And I thought we observed something important, very special with Cam Newton. Was I the only one that saw that? Aaron, did that translate to you?
Hey, he had his wisdom teeth taken out earlier in the week. Yeah, maybe it had something to do with it. But in all seriousness, yes, I saw a calmness, a resolve, a matter of fact that he was going to take him down the field and get something done. And I think a turning point really was right after that missed kick. We went into the no huddle offense. Mm-hmm. And that was a spark, and that was led by Cam Newton. So I think you're onto something there.
Speaking of that, I think that I might be able to have something that I want to play about the no huddle offense. So let me see if this works on out tonight.
About how we do things, we tried that against Baltimore. We came out, we moved, and we didn't get any points. So I think part of it is not just about the flow, but the rhythm of the game too. Now you come out and you don't go no huddle, and all of a sudden you're very methodical. You drive it down, you put points on the board. Well, hey, let's do that again. Take your time, eat the clock up. Keep your defense off the field. I mean, that's part of it. You got to always consider those things. It's kind of like watching college football now. These scores are like basketball games now. I mean, 50-something, 50-something, 60-something, 50-something. I mean, I seriously thought it was those were basketball scores. And what happens is the defenses get no breaks. They get no chances to rest and make adjustments because it's, bam, 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 they're back out there. I mean, if that's what we want in the league, then that most certainly could happen. But I think, based on the way we're built and the way we want to do things, we want to control the tempo and the pace.
All right, so that is Cam Newton. That is Cam Newton. That is Ron Rivera discussing the no-huddle offense. Were you able to hear that well enough, Joey, that he does not he doesn't think that that's our identity? And so this has been, Aaron has brought this up, is that I believe Cam Newton was 9 for 13 or 9 for 11 in the hurry-up offense. He looked comfortable in it at that moment. Joey, Ron Rivera and then later Mike Shula discussed that really Mike Shula doesn't know a lot about the up-tempo offense. What did you see? Did you like to see us in that?
I like it for a change of pace. I think Ron Rivera is right when he said we're not built that way. We're built to control the tempo and set the pace. We are a running team at heart. We'd like to run the ball and run it effectively and throw with some regularity. But we can't do that right now because we have a mass unit in our backfield. Okay, I will say they did a decent job in this game of running the ball. It wasn't spectacular, but it was just enough to keep the defense honest, where they couldn't just go all out after Cam Newton. And then we hit them with the up-tempo, and that really, we did well with it, but we can't sustain that all game long, I don't believe. Coming in as
my boy Darren Reeves did pretty well, and what I thought he did well is not only did he carry the ball, and he ran hard. That's all he does. He just runs hard. That's what I like about him, and he runs generally north-south, and I enjoy that. But what I liked about Darren Reeves is he's such a little dude. I think her name was Christine Aguilera, was tweeting me, and she was like, he's just so tiny out there, because he is like 5'8", but what I was really impressed about was he was really making some heavy-hitting blocks. And when I say heavy-hitting, he was getting hit heavily by defensive tackles and defensive ends, but my man stood up, and he didn't seem to miss the assignment. He might have gotten overpowered at times, but I thought that he showed a great improvement. I didn't feel we ran the ball very much at all. Aaron, do you just attribute that to the fact that we were behind for most of the game?
Yeah, I think that was most of it. I did like what I saw out of, I don't even know how to pronounce, was it Obi-Wan?
We call him Silent G or G.
Obi-Wan.
Cam calls him Obi-Wan, yeah, but from Obi-Wan to, I was looking for Fozzie, man. Where was Fozzie? But we did have an effective running game. We didn't have an outstanding running game, but we ran when we needed to, and we got enough to keep them off balance. But speaking of blocking, how about the big pancake that I'll give Cam Newton on that nice reverse? Nice block there.
He rocked it, man, and he was smiling about that. His teeth were hurting at that moment, or his nose, his gums.
That was awesome.
He did. I was really impressed with Cam Newton, and I've been first. You guys know I'm a Cam Newton. That's my boyfriend. But
little man crush.
Yeah, but to me has played remarkably well this season. I mean, his QBR is very high. His completion rate has got to be. I mean, I can pull up the numbers. Somebody else can pull them up. Grant can tweet us the numbers, but the guy, he's throwing in the high 60s probably. I think last time I checked it was 67% or something like that. And that's, I mean, if Cam Newton is going to play this well as a passer, and think his numbers were hurt in this game by maybe 3 drops by Benjamin.
Mm-hmm.
That would have been that he throws. What I've been seeing about Cam Newton is, every now and then I see less erraticism and more just very pretty throws, and he is just putting it in people's bread baskets. He's throwing those rockets right where they need to be. He's throwing receivers open. So I like to see that. I think what you were mentioning, Joey, with the hurry-up offense and that a change of pace is it certainly does. It's like a curveball or a changeup, and I heard Chris McClain from the Mac Attack talking about this, is that you don't got to drop it all the time and make that your offense, but every now and then you can really fool some cats with a changeup.
Mm-hmm.
How about this? What did you like? Did you like to see Cam Newton run that one or two designed runs in this game?
Oh yeah, I think it was necessary for Cam to be at its absolute best, and our offense to be at its absolute best. Cam has got to be a threat to run.
Yeah.
And doing it 2 times is just enough for the defense to remember, oh, this guy can run. And that's really what you're wanting to do.
Clyde just tweeted us, guys, and we're not just 3 minutes ago, and he said that according to Pro Football Focus, Cam Newton is the 3rd best quarterback in their passer rankings.
Nice.
Wow.
I'm not surprised.
Wow.
He has not turned the ball over until this week. He had an interception and he had a fumble. Now let's talk about that, because Clyde, he hates some Byron Bell, and Byron Bell got rung up in this. Aaron, what did you think about that?
Well, I mean, you take that interception, right, and that was a tipped pass.
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't like it was a bad decision or a bad throw by Cam.
Right.
But I love Clyde, and I love his interactions online. But, I got to say, the key to this victory was we had 4 sacks against Jay Cutler. We gave up 2 sacks. I'll take 2 sacks in a game any day of the week. I think Byron Bell, he's not elite. He's not even average. But right now, he's inconsistent. But I'll take 2 sacks any day. And when Cam gets the time,
Clyde's about to tell you what Byron Bell is. You said he's not elite, he's not consistent, but he is the worst left tackle statistically in the NFL, or the worst tackle. Last week he was rated the worst tackle overall.
Is that right? Wow, that's a little surprising.
The
very last.
But we only took 2 sacks all game. That's not too bad.
I think he had a decent game.
I did too.
He did get beat some, but overall, I think he had a decent game.
He played a older Jared Allen who's been struggling in the pass rush, who also had pneumonia.
Yeah.
And lost 18 pounds and only gained 10 back. But he said he was worried about. We've all had pneumonia. Joey, you have it probably right now. You did like 2 weeks ago. That's why I'm not being that much of a Jackie. But it doesn't go away, even when you're like over the sick feeling aspect of, like where you just feel like crap. You are winded for a long time. Like,
No doubt.
it gets deep in your lungs. So he's playing a wounded animal. Well, look, guess what? We got to cheer for him because we ain't got nothing else.
Hey, bottom line is we gave up 2 sacks. We got 4 sacks. You could say anything else, but that's the bottom line, right?
All right. Well, Clyde said Bell is goddamn awful, and he's right. Okay. So let's move on to another aspect. Speaking of awful, let me
Tell us what you really think, Clyde.
Here, let me see if I can get this for you. Let me see if this works.
That they need to be NFL defenders.
Well, and not to disparage anybody, but my feeling is that it's tough on them. It's tough on them to develop, and it's really hard when you watch some of these guys, and they come to you, and really you almost wonder if they're just playing off of their talent.
Hold on, I think that's
thought
a
he
little
handled
bit
himself
behind.
very well.
I was trying to get the Ron Rivera audio to talking about Philly Brown. And so I got it. Actually, I was just on the wrong window. Let me see if this is it.
And to have a player of his stature come to you and say that, I think that's important.
That's Charles Johnson clip. Well, still getting the production value down, but still, check this out, is Philly clapping Seal Brown.
Hey, what did you think about his touchdown?
I thought that was some bullshit, and what I mean is that, like, I think it was awesome. Did I cheer for it? Yes. Did I want to keep those 7 points? Yes. But I don't think it makes him good.
No.
I mean, he just picked up the ball and walked down the sideline. So to me,
I think it just makes him attentive.
I think the referee told him to get the ball and run it.
I think it makes him the difference in this ball game.
You mean, what about when he fumbled it? Was that a difference in this ballgame?
No, because we recovered it.
Right. Could have been.
Could have been. But, hey, Susan on Twitter just says, Clyde entertains her greatly. So keep those lines coming there, Clyde. We got to entertain Susan.
Well, I know one thing that's not entertaining, and that's Philly Brown. Why is it so hard for Carolina to find a punt returner? This is why Ted Ginn looked like damn Calvin Johnson to us, or something like amazing. Or I'm trying to think of a better receiver or more to his body stature.
Yep.
But like, we thought that everybody loves some damn Ted Ginn for one simple fact, not because he was a receiver, but because that man did not do crap like this. And Ted Ginn is a reliable punt returner. We haven't had that. Our team needs that so much, because our punts, like our special teams, can be deadly if we don't have a guy that's a liability back there. And I saw a lot of people discussing this on Twitter, is that Philly Brown is a liability in the punt game. I feel like we benched Joe Adams for about what Philly Brown has done to this point forever. Joey, do you like to see Philly Brown back there? We call him Philly Falling Down Brown. Because did you see my man just sit down on the ground like he said, I don't want to return this, I'm so scared.
It's a gamble when he's back there returning punts. It's 50-50 if he'll catch it, and then it's 50-50 if he'll catch it and when he gets hit, hold on to it. So it is a gamble. I heard, or at least I guess there were rumors going around that we had been looking at Trendon Holiday.
Oh, there you go.
I don't even know who that is. Tell me who that is.
He used to return punts for Denver, the Denver Broncos.
And Houston before that.
And Houston, yeah. But he played, I think, at LSU. He's only like 5'6", maybe 100.
He built like a fire hydrant, fast as all get out, but he fumbled a couple times and lost his job.
Right,
but that sounds like the same problem we already got, is a dude that's fumbling. We don't need that. This is what we need. We need Dwayne Harris to march into the Cowboys, into Jerry Jones' office, and demand a trade. Dwayne Harris, get off the Cowboys and come back home to North Carolina, and we will make you a receiver also. He's getting screwed in Dallas because they love him so much as a punt returner, they won't let him get out there and probably get hurt, is what people told me. So Philly Brown, I think that's terrible. I mean, he doesn't look cool and comfortable back there. One of our guys, another ECU guy that we're scouting, Justin Hardy, the man with the golden gloves, he had 3 touchdowns, guys, and I saw him returning punts, and he didn't look at any point like catching the football was a problem. You know, like he could have caught that with his eyes closed, it felt like. And I don't see that comfortableness with Philly Falling Down Brown. Did you see a young kid nervous out there, Aaron?
I did, and I'll give you that. It's a knot in my stomach every time he's back there. You know, actually, I would like to see Brenton Burson returning punts for us. He might not be quick enough to get a whole lot of yards, but he's not going to fumble. So, now I'm with you. Let's hang on. We'll take Justin next year in the second round, and we'll have our punt returner.
All right, so we snuck away with a win here with a very sloppy game, and a lot of people have been, I think some people are overexcited about just how good this means we are as a team. I think this means we were on the ropes, and we threw a good counterpunch. So we're going to be going on, hashtag on to Cincinnati. Bill Belichick, that's the only place he is concerned about, on to Cincinnati. And boy, was he focused in that game. The damn Patriots just blew them suckers out, didn't they?
Oh, made it look ugly.
Why were they celebrating like they won the damn Super Bowl, though?
That's a good.
Because I'll tell you why. Because you think things were bad in Charlotte after that loss 2 weeks ago. The sky was falling in Boston, man. I mean, people were ready to bench Tom Brady. They were ready to fire Belichick. So after a win, after a nice big win, people were feeling good. It was a big 800-pound gorilla off their backs.
Did you see, Joey, that Tom Brady had his 50,000th menstrual cycle?
I did.
Oh, sorry.
I'm not supposed to do that.
I mean, yards per yards. He.
Yes, I did see that, and that's quite an accomplishment. It is an accomplishment, something for him to be proud of. He's worked hard, and I may not like him, but I do respect him because he gives it his all. He's fully invested in what he's doing. This game coming up between the Panthers and the Bengals is the battle of the Queen Cities. I don't know if you know that, but Cincinnati is also known as the Queen City.
That's true.
Really?
Yes.
Why? They have a lot of things. Cincinnatus and Washington and the old Roman Cincinnatus and now the Queen City. Is there a clear, easy, quick connection on that, or is that some long story?
I don't know what the story is, to tell you the truth. I just know that they are known as the Queen City, the Queen of the West. They're also known as.
Strange. I never heard that.
The city on 7 hills.
Gosh, they are like an old Roman.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. All right, so let me ask this about Cincinnati. 3-4 defense, I believe. They run it like Pittsburgh does, which gave us a lot of trouble. And so they asked Ron Rivera about this in the press conference yesterday, and this is a different style that the NFC does not play as much. How do we compensate, Joey? Do you see us having trouble with Cincinnati?
Well, I see a very motivated and fired up Cincinnati team coming out to play against us because the Patriots did shame them. So Cincinnati is going to be, having something to prove against us. The 3-4 defense, I would be more concerned if Mike Zimmer were still there being the defensive coordinator, because he's been a defensive coordinator for a long time, very well respected. I don't know who's their defensive coordinator now, but he's not a Mike Zimmer. So I'm not saying
that's because you don't know his name.
That is because I don't know his name. That's beside the point, though. I'm not as concerned playing against this 3-4 unit as I was against the Steelers. Because, yeah.
Joe, they only give up, prior to the New England game, something like 14 points a game.
Yeah, they're very good. They have a lot of talent on that defense.
It was 11 points a game before last night.
11? Okay. So, Aaron, do you see us having problems with this Cincinnati defense? Particularly Byron Bell, terrible.
Terrible. In your Charles Barkley voice, right?
Yeah.
Terrible.
Yeah.
I think we could, man. I'm telling you, this is a game where it could get ugly if we're not on our A game, right? I mean, I think Joey hit the nail on the head. It's going to be a ticked off team with something to prove. You know, they felt humiliated, and they will come out with something to prove. But I think we can take the page out of the Patriots. Do a little bit of the things that they did. I mean, the Patriots ran 220 yards on them. Mm-hmm. If we can take a page out of what they did, do some of the same type of runs, which were some kind of stretch runs out to the tackles. So, hey, Byron Bell's going to have to step up if we're going to win this game. So,
you guys see that Trey? Did you see that Trey Turner started and played the entire game for the Carolina Panthers?
I thought he looked good. I was watching him. I thought he looked very good.
Mm-hmm. Does that mean that Sila Tulu was playing less, or they are opposite of each other as a guard?
That means Velasco was playing less. So Sila Tulu was on the other side.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's going to be a lot asked out of our offensive line in this game because, seriously, our defense, if we've had trouble with Pittsburgh and Baltimore, specifically Baltimore's offense, we had a lot of difficulty with them. They moved the ball very well on us. We're talking about Giovanni Bernard. We're talking A.J. Green. We're talking
Mohamed Sanu.
Sanu. Who would have Sanu? I wouldn't have
Sanooned.
I wouldn't have Sanoon. I wouldn't have suspected either. So my question is that this is no slouch, or it's not even a question, it's just a statement. There's no slouch offense right here, and this might be one of the more difficult ones that we match up against, particularly maybe like what we thought Detroit was going to be. You know, is that kind of powerful offense. What do you guys think about that?
Well, here's the reason Cincinnati lost. They only rushed for 85 yards, right? And they turned the ball over. Mm-hmm. So if we can limit Giovanni Bernard to under 100 yards, if we can get 4 sacks on Andy Dalton, if we can keep
4,
like we did this past week.
That's like, okay. That's a lot to ask, but that's what we're going to need. That's exactly
what
we're going to need.
We got to get pressure on him, man. You know, we got to get in Dalton's face because Dalton is not good when you get pressure on him. He is not mobile, and he is not that accurate. But if he has all day, he'll tear you up.
Yeah, Joey, can our defensive line get this pressure that Aaron's speaking of?
I think so. If we can play like we did last week against the Bears in the second half, but do this all game long, I think we have an outstanding chance of winning the game because not only is Andy Dalton less accurate when he's under pressure, but he tends to just throw the ball up, hoping that somebody comes down with it. And
he does have A.J. Green.
Right. That's why he feels okay doing that. But my point is, by just flinging the ball out there, there could be a chance for some turnovers. And if we're getting sacks and turnovers,
I'm concerned. I think that there's been a lot of media coverage in the Charlotte, like newspaper and things, to where they're saying that our defensive pass rush is back in some ways, or that they played this such an important part in the game against Chicago, and Charles Johnson had a great game because he got 1 sack. I didn't see it. I saw one guy. I saw K'Wan Short play a monster of a game the whole game.
He did.
But they didn't come around towards the end, and not to say, hey, thanks for coming around in the second half. We need that. But I don't know if the problems, and Susan alluded to this, is that the problems are still there with this team.
Yeah.
Is that I need, who I think needs to play bigger is Starr. And maybe I'm not looking at enough technique in him specifically, but I just haven't seen his name called as much when things are happening well for this team. Where has he been at, guys? Have you seen something different with Starr, and could he be the difference maker this week against Cincinnati?
No, I totally agree. You got to have Starr, you got to have Colin Cole, you got to have Dwan Edwards putting that pressure up in the middle, right? That's where it all starts with us. If you get that, then you're going to get Charles Johnson and Wes Horton and Coney Ely cleaning things up, Mario Edison cleaning things up on the edges. But if we don't get that pressure up in the middle, it's going to be a long day against this team.
Joey, what do you think about that? I mean, what did you like? Were you impressed by Starr? I mean, not Starr, by Short. Obviously, you were. But where is the extra help going to come this week?
He had a fantastic game, Starr did, and it was all game long. Let's look at this. The Bears are just an average team. They're a better than average offense, but their defense is highly questionable. Okay, and then let's look back at the 2 weeks before that. The Steelers, average team, came to our house and blew us out of the water. Okay, Ravens, maybe a little better than average, still not 37 points better than we were, though. So we are a team that tends to not play well against teams that are average. And this is a better than average Bengals team. A lot of people were picking them as the best team overall in the NFL as far as power rankings go going into this week.
Yeah, prior to the New England game, I don't know if other than Seattle and Denver, if there's a real argument for another team being better than them.
Right. So we have our work cut out for us, no doubt. But if Starr could show up like he did, if Short can show up like he did, and Starr can wreak some havoc as well, then it will definitely be easier on our ends getting to Dalton.
This is going to be a very tough matchup. Is going into their house while they're upset is certainly something like Aaron was mentioning earlier, is that we're going to have our work cut out for us when it comes to the Cincinnati game. What I do like about this in some ways is AJ Green. Oh, I almost call him AC Green. AJ Green. We've played some receivers in his range, his caliber. We've played a Calvin Johnson, which we don't know how healthy, if he was at all, Calvin Johnson, now that he's been so nicked up since we have played him. We've played some tough receivers, so maybe that helps. I don't know. I'm not really feeling heartened or excited about this matchup, but we have 2 consecutive weeks, guys, where we got to play Cincinnati, and then we got to play Green Bay. That's tough. But thankfully, our division is in the trash. What is going on, guys?
Yeah. Well, the only thing better than watching the Panthers win is watching Atlanta lose. They're having a tough time, man. They had 3 offensive linemen go down last week, before this week, where they were injured and they had to put 3 new guys in. Their defense is struggling. Hey, that's a good thing. But we can't count on that continuing for the rest of the year.
Not at all. I mean, the fact that the Saints look like one of the worst teams in the league, as bad as we did last week, essentially.
Drew Brees' QBR was 33.5 last week.
God.
Jeez. I saw him make some just foolish kind of things. Like, he even looked flustered. He's, even losing his composure. So that's good news. Right now, we are 3-2, and everybody else is 2-3 or below in the division. So that is very good news for us, because we've got 2 games in a row, and then this is our 4-game stretch, fellas. We play Cincinnati, we play Green Bay, then I think we play Seattle and the Saints.
New Orleans. Yep.
That's insane. If anybody told us that was going to be, we should be very happy where we're at right now with 3-2. But really, we really needed to be 4-1 in this point in the season.
Yep.
What do you guys foresee going forward with this Panthers team? What are they doing this week? What does a loss do? How are you feeling as a Panther fan, Joe, moving forward?
I feel good because of what I saw from the team this past weekend. I saw that they still have it in them, that they still want to win, they continue to fight, and they were able to pound out a win. I like to see that. I think that was huge. Going against Cincinnati is going to be a lot tougher than any of these three teams that we did play, that's for sure. And we talked about their offense, but they have a very talented defense as well.
Yeah.
So, that's something that we have to consider. Truthfully, to be honest, I like our chances against Green Bay. I've seen some things from them that I think could play into our hands. And then against Seattle, that's going to be a great game, as close as it was last year when we played them. And what more do you need to say other than Panthers Saints? And isn't that game on a Thursday?
It is.
Panthers Saints is at home.
Thursday. Yeah, we're in Charlotte, but it's on a Thursday night.
Speaking of primetime games, and I know this is off subject, but that Monday night game last night, Seattle and Washington, I had the most fluky thing happen to me in fantasy football. I was down 10 points going into that game, and I had Deshaun Jackson, and the guy I was playing had Percy Harvin. So I'm down 10 points, and I thought, man, this is over. I thought there's no chance. It doesn't matter if Deshaun Jackson blows up. Percy Harvin is going to blow up too, and he did. He scored 3 touchdowns.
But they were
Percy
all
Harvin
called
did.
back. Yep.
Every single one of them was called back, and I won. Deshaun Jackson scored 30 points for me, dude, and I won. I'm worried, guys. I don't know. We're going to have a very tough run with these teams coming forward. I think Cincinnati is going to be tough. I don't know, Joey, I think maybe Green Bay, when they're starting to get hot right now, they're starting to catch some momentum. To me, that's a tough game. Aaron, how do you feel going forward with that?
Well, I gotta say, man, I hope I'm wrong, but I'm not feeling too optimistic about this week. Going into Cincinnati with them being ticked off after being humiliated in a primetime game. Talking about primetime jinxes, they're 2-8 since 2011 in primetime. So we just need to put the word out that this is a primetime game. Sunday, 1 o'clock is primetime. They're 2-8. But that's going to be tough, and I'm not feeling real good about in Green Bay either. I went up there and watched us play in Green Bay before. That's a tough environment to play in, I'm telling you. And then Seattle
That's
at
because
home,
they don't have anything else to do.
That's true. That's very true.
It's the only thing to do is to be a Green Bay Packer
And
fan.
it is cold, let me tell you. It is cold. I was shivering and freezing, and folks were coming out in shorts, Speedos, tank tops, and it wasn't
Imagine how nimble Byron Bell is going to look in Green Bay. That's it. Come on. We're in trouble. And look, everybody can hate on me about this. Joey can feel good. This team, we have to play better. We have to play a lot better. That Chicago game, in many ways, was a gift. And certainly, you got to say a lot of good things. I like what I saw out of Thomas Davis. I like what I saw. I think that maybe that we could get a little swagger back on our defense potentially. I think Cam Newton has looked phenomenal. Kelvin Benjamin looked like a rookie, guys. He did not play very well overall. He had a fumble. He had some drop passes. Now, he's played so great that I think that we're not unhappy with him, but he's going to have to play more. We need him to be better than he should be in his rookie season to have a real fighting chance this year. Susan said we can't afford to have a slow start. We got to come out swinging and be aggressive in this game against the Bengals. I would be worried. I think she's right, guys. We need to play from ahead, not from behind. Is that going to be tough for us trying to do what we did on the road, what we had to do against Chicago?
Well, have you noticed the last few weeks, the first drives, we've looked really good, and then something has happened and we fell apart. The last 3
Like
weeks,
Byron Bell.
like Byron Bell, yep. Or a fumble here. That fumble by Benjamin kind of was the start of the quicksand moment for us. If we can avoid those moments, we got a great shot. We start out fast like we have been, and I have every confidence that we can. We got to be able to run the ball a little bit. But I think we have a good shot. But if we get a tip ball and we throw an interception, we have a fumble, we turn the ball over, it's going to be a long day in Cincinnati. But I think we got a shot. 50-50 right now.
Joey, did you think that our run defense or our pass defense looked better against the Bears?
I think our pass defense did, I felt like, anyway. Even though our run game did play well, our pass defense really seemed to show up when they decided to put Luke Kuechly on Matt Forte, where Forte was catching the ball and getting good yardage early. Later in the game, they put Luke Kuechly on him, and as soon as Forte caught the ball, he immediately went down. So there was no gain other than the 3 or 4 yards on the catch, because Kuechly was all over.
I'm just interested to see how Cincinnati is as a rushing team, because I feel like, we're just not as good at stopping the rush this season as we were last season, and particularly in the first 2 games of this season. I think that's critical for this defense is to play the run hard, because we know that we're supposed to try to make you one-dimensional and just get by with the pass rush and not give you enough time. So I'm a little concerned
Professor, right now, Cincinnati's ranked 18th in the rush. They're averaging 111 yards per game. Now, granted, that takes into consideration the 220 yards, that takes into consideration the poor performance they had last night against the Patriots. But if we can control that's the key to the game. You can control Giovanni. You put Kuechly on Giovanni, let him be the spy, shut him down. I don't care what A.J. Green does. You shut Giovanni down. You keep him under 100 yards, we win the game.
I like that. I think that that's going to be critical to this matchup is that run defense. Some things, though, I don't know. When it comes to, I think our offense, if our offensive line, do we have to trade? Are we going to have to do something? Can this line get any better at all? That's something that concerns me, is because I think this team is actually playing particularly well as an offensive unit if you took away the guards. I mean, not the guards, the tackles.
Right.
I mean, if we could just if you put Jordan Gross on this team with Cam Newton the way he's playing right now, and Kelvin Benjamin, Cotry's catching everything you throw his way, I really feel like this offense is pretty good. Except for that line. Is that just gonna be the end of us, Joey?
I don't know if it'll be the end of us, because there are moments where they play well. I mean, we saw that in the Bears game. They had their moments. It does make the road harder to hoe, if you would.
The road harder to hoe.
It does make it harder, but I think an offensive line is not individuals. The offensive line is the sum of its parts. And if we can continue to get the good guard play from the interior, hopefully that'll carry over to the tackles where, they're not going to be spectacular Pro Bowl. We can't expect that. If they can just be proficient, that's all we need for them to be, is proficient. And I believe we can hope for that because, like I said, that offensive line is not individuals. It's everybody working together. So if they keep playing well as a unit, maybe we'll be able to hide some of their faults off the tackle.
What do you guys think? Do we win this game?
You know me, I'm a homer. I'm going to say yes, we win this game. It's going to be tight. I don't know that it's going to be very high scoring. I'm thinking somewhere in the neighborhood of 20, 21, 17, 21, 20.
Wow, yeah. Aaron, you said you weren't as optimistic earlier.
No, I'm a homer too, but on the road, they're going to be pissed off, and they do have a heck of a team. I'll give them their due. They are tough. This is one game. I will hope I'm wrong, but I will predict that we will not prevail. I'm going to say 24-14. I think
All right,
it'll
Panther
be a
Nation,
tough day.
look at that screen. It says at Panther Drafter. Blow Aaron up for that.
Please do. Please do. I hope I'm wrong, man. I hope I'm wrong. I'll be cheering. And you know what? Hey, let me show you. One thing that I did different this past week is I wore this nice Cat Chronicle shirt during the game, and we won. So I'm wearing it again this Sunday. Hopefully it'll come through again.
And members of Panther Nation that do not have that shirt, they are available for purchase on our website. It's a very nice, high-quality shirt, and it makes a very good statement to the rest of the NFL. We
No
are
doubt.
the voice of Panther Nation.
No doubt.
One nation, one nation. I don't know about this. Is that right now I feel nervous as a Panthers fan. I think, by the way, Clyde is getting on you, Joe, about proficient O-line play. Come on now. That's not possible, he said. I think that is going to be the death of us all season long because I don't feel that we've played teams that are particularly good at the pass rush. I was not worried about the Steelers and their pass. They were struggling so terrible. They barely beat the Jacksonville Jaguars. They lost the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It's not other than Antonio Bryant and their running game, they're not very good. And we struggled immensely against them. We struggled again against Baltimore. We really struggled, to be honest, for the entire first half against Chicago on the offensive line.
Except for that last drive.
So I don't know. Is that I think this is going to be a very tough game. I don't know. I could every time I pick against the Panthers, they win. So maybe I should just pick against the Panthers. Mm-hmm. I think we're going to struggle on the road. Is that I think though maybe we win one of these. If we can beat either Green Bay or Cincinnati, I wonder which one would be most resemblant of that San Francisco win. That was a very season-changing game for us. What did we win? 12-9?
Yep.
So do you guys remember we had come off a loss to the Cardinals, and I don't know if it was the next game or we then beat the San Francisco 49ers in their house, and to me that was the real thing that's made this team feel legit. Which one of these two games, guys, is it this Cincinnati game or is it the Green Bay game that could provide us that spark?
Well, if I could pick one game we're going to win, it would be the Green Bay game because then you would have momentum running in the next week in Bank of America Stadium playing against Seattle with a win behind us, right? I mean, if we win this coming week and then we lose to Seattle, maybe we lose a little bit of momentum against Seattle, or lose the next week against Green Bay. Maybe we don't have the momentum against Seattle. So I want to win them all, but if I had to pick between those two games, give me the win in Lambeau.
How do you feel about that, Joey?
I mean, what you're saying, Aaron, makes sense. It does. If you have to pick one, you want it to be the Lambeau You want to get the win in Lambeau going into the next 2 weeks. But I still think we can win both games.
Hey, I'm with you. I hope so.
And have a two game momentum going into those next 2 weeks.
That would be even better.
I'm starting to think that maybe the Cincinnati game is the easier of the two. And I don't know, well, maybe not easier. The more winnable game is that Aaron Rodgers scares me. Is that I feel personally that, like what you guys mentioned with Andy Dalton, is that in some ways he's very reminiscent of Cutler. All these guys, any of these quarterbacks, if you can get pressure on them, they make poor decisions and they try to force things. Aaron Rodgers, to me, always seems to make the best decisions, even when they're poor ones. They're like the least poor of decisions.
I agree.
He seems a very smart quarterback, where I don't feel like he is going to beat himself. Andy Dalton, we might have a better opportunity of that happening. So
very true.
That's what I'm hoping for. The other thing is, I don't even know if momentum helps on a primetime game for these Carolina Panthers. If you take out that damn Monday Night Football game against the Patriots last year, we stink in primetime.
As does Cincinnati.
Okay. Well, obviously they stunk last primetime. Right? No, but we don't play them in primetime. We play the Saints in primetime.
Yep. It's true.
So I think I think Joe might have talked me into this one. I'm going in Cincinnati. Gosh, no, we're not going to win this game. I don't even think we're that good, and that's where I'm worried. I'm sorry, man. That offensive line is horrendous. And
how many sacks did we give up?
2.
But we got to look at pressures, and maybe we could get together. Do we get Jonathan Stewart back? Maybe that helps. How many plays do we get him back? That's another question. Talk about that for a second. I want to look up the line to this game, and then we'll just close it out real quick.
I think that's where the game is going to be won for us, is in the running game. It has to be effective. And I think our line is better when it's run blocking than when it is pass blocking. So if we're able
that seems like that would be the truth normally, but that has not been the truth throughout the season. We've been terrible run blockers for the season overall. But historically, yes.
But we were better this past week.
We were. Can you get any worse?
Right. If we're able to build off of that, and we do get Stewart back, or even for that matter, if we get D'Angelo Williams back.
Yeah.
I
think Fozzie Whitaker needs a shot, man. I'm telling you, if he's healthy, he could be a difference maker.
Why didn't he play?
Here's what you do: is he's the answer. He's the answer on kickoff and punt returns.
There you go.
Get him in there.
I agree with that. Absolutely.
Get Philly Brown out of there.
Susan on Twitter predicts we're going to win 24-21.
Okay. I can totally see that.
Yeah.
All right. Just to let you know, this is what Las Vegas thinks, is that Cincinnati is favored by a touchdown. And the over-under in this game is 45. I think I take...
That's about right.
I think I take Carolina with the points, but I say switch that score maybe 21-17 Cincinnati.
Hey, Tony, you know where I live, brother. You know where I live. Send me your bet. I'll go across the street and place the wagers.
There you go. I don't need to get involved in any of that. First, speaking of, when we get our last plugs and stuff and wrap this up in a second, is every Friday you can check me out on pirateradio1250.com. Also, you can check it if you're in the Greenville area. It's an AM station. I'm on the sports bar with my buddy Clip Brock at Tweeting Clip. It's his show every day of the week, and he's been nice enough to let me come on and talk Panthers and make some NFL picks. And I was struggling last week, guys. I went 6-6 last week. Not good. I went 10-2 to make it up this week. Picked the Browns, picked Buffalo over Detroit, had some big winners. So I was excited about that, but no money involved. Once you put some money involved, it's over.
2 and
I'm
10.
gonna say, yeah, I'm gonna say this is I don't know if we have what it takes to beat Cincinnati. Are they did they catch New England at a bad time? I think maybe is that maybe New England's fed up enough. You better hope that I don't know. I'm worried about that. I think we have a tough 3-game stretch. Maybe I'm proven wrong here, and I hope so. So any last parting words? I think I got a story up right now about Thomas Davis. We got some NFC standing stuff coming out in the future. Aaron, what you working on anything? What's going on with you looking forward?
Well, hey, we got a lot going on with the C3 Fantasy Football League, right? Ed out in Greensboro, give him a shout out for winning the prize this past week for the most Panther points given. This week, the prize is given to the nearest victor, the smallest margin of victory, right? So a lot of cool prizes going on in that league. Excited about that, but I'm also into college football right now, looking at the prospects of what we could look at. I'm working on an article that kind of highlights who the Panthers may target for next year regarding the offensive line. That's a big need. But follow me on Twitter at Panthers Drafter, and let's keep the conversation going.
You're going to need to look at, and you mentioned this last year when we were in the draft coverage, and you did such a great job with that, and that we were going to need potentially a linebacker at some point moving forward.
No doubt.
Just to let you guys know that A.J. Klein did not play any snaps, I don't think, in this game against Chicago, and Chase Blackburn really only played 5. So we're just running 2 linebackers and running that nickel. Not that that's necessarily surprising, but I don't know what that tells you about if their talent and some things like that. So something to keep an eye on. Joey, tell them what's up with you.
I've got the Carolina Panthers fan club of Charleston going on right now. We had a good turnout last week, and it was a lot of fun. We were very into the game. There were several Bears fans at the bar as well, and we were running around the bar, high-fiving each other after big plays, just acting kind of drunk. But it was
Hey, here's breaking news, okay? Clyde is more optimistic than Panther Drafter. He just tweeted out that he's more optimistic than I am. He thinks the Panthers take this one 24-21.
Nice.
That's a shocker.
Nice.
That we win?
That we
Wow,
win.
that is.
No, it's a shocker that Clyde is being optimistic.
I know. Well, I would like to say thank you to everyone that's been watching. We've had such a good response tonight. Very active in the Twitter feed as well. I see a lot of people. I can tell that we're getting some traction. So I love that. As always, check out CarolinaCatChronicles.com for the fan take, guys. Is that we're one of you and you're one of us. So that's what our angle is by fans for fans. So you can follow us at Twitter at @cat_chronicles, like us on Facebook, all of that jazz. And, look forward to, we're going to have a scouting report coming out. So we got some fun stuff coming up in the future or soon. So with that said,